What's going on, world? It's your boy at Big Game James _36, bringing you at Big Games BS, part of the Den Media Group, brought to you by thehumidor.com. Thehumidor.com is the go-to website for all things cigar related. What your humidors, your cigars, your lighters, your cutters, humidifier packs, you name it, they got it. Thehumidor.com is already priced way cheaper than everybody else's. And if you type in sports then at checkout, you get 20% off. I'm saving you guys money. One of the great gifts a lot of people neglected fathers for Father's Day. You want to make that man in your life happy? Man, go buy that man some cigars. Go get him some Padrones, some Olivas, some whatever varieties. You can go from cheap to super expensive, but thehumidor.com has all really, really good ones. And nothing really bonds the world more than cigars. In a world where everybody's getting more split up right now, me and my friends used to say this. Actually, the cigars are Gwaltney, who's one of the guys who runs the humidor. A lot of the world's problems can be solved with a good scotch and a good cigar, and just talk it out. Nobody wants to talk. When you smoke a cigar, you got about an hour to talk to somebody, even if it's yourself. So if you see me on the porch every day when you're on social media and I'm smoking, that's what I'm smoking. Again, we're brought to you by Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. Inside right now, when you see all of this taxidermy, I wish I could say I shot these things with weapons bought by Green Acre Sporting Goods, but this is Scott, my partner with Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. A lot of events that we're having through the month of July. Probably going to throw a birthday party. So if you want to be down, just let me know. We're going to throw a nice little shindig here. I have to say no children allowed at that one. Only adults. But we'll have something that'll be a good call for a good cause going toward my book bag, my third annual book bag drive. We're trying to get 2,500 book bags. So we got a lot of stuff to do with this. We have FSU's Black Alumni Brunch every year, 10 different cities. FSU Black Alumni come. They try to raise money through brunch and having different events that give scholarships to for African Americans to attend the Florida State University, which is my alma mater, if you don't know. And we'll have a 4th of July celebration. You saw how we got down. A lot of people, Juneteenth had a lot of people kind of in their feels. It's just another opportunity to party. That we like partying in America. We like anytime to barbecue, smoke cigars, and drink. We're going to do that. So we're going to have our 4th of July celebration here. Don't bring that BS not wanting to party here. This is the wrong place. So we're going to do that here at Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. Make sure you check it out. And I've been having a lot of people ask me when I'm going to do another comedy show, and I might do it for my birthday. How about that? We'll do a comedy show for my birthday. I have no idea who the comedians are going to be. I actually want Reva, so I'm definitely going to get Reva. Would love Tez to come. And if y'all see Bobby out there, tell Bobby come on back. And he can and he can get some of his jokes. I know his jokes have gotten a little bit more mature as he's gotten reps. So I'm going to fill you in quick about how my weekend went. And then after that, we're not going to bury the lead. We're going to talk about probably one topic for the entire hour. After we get done with that, it's when I tell you these, and I gotta watch my language because we got a nice young gentleman here that's watching this. My guy Miguel, and Miguel is like a beautiful mind when it comes to these stats. So I want to test him and see what his knowledge is. His dad's a good friend of mine, another Florida State grad. Again, the Micanopy way, Florida State grads take care of Florida State grads, and things of that nature. So my weekend consisted of, or actually my week, as y'all know, Thursday. Basically, I've been traveling since 2 Thursdays ago. But last Friday, I got an opportunity to be the MC at my son's godfather's event. Went great. I did mess up that name, by the way. But it's not my fault. It is not my fault. That is not the way he pronounced the name, and the phonetics. The phonetic does not. So one, before anybody bashes me, I love Arabic culture and Middle Eastern people and stuff like that. I just went to this place, Fast Eddie's. Delicious. That's the place I told you where I showed my behind. I love learning about new cultures and cuisines, and I eat loud. So when it's good, I am just like, oh my God, this is why have I not known about this rice, this Arabic rice for so long? Why have I not known? Why did you people hide this from me? I don't see color, but I see flavor. So like I love everything about different cultures. But I got Kamal right. I didn't say his name, but they didn't give me the you got to say that with some of the cultures, and they didn't give me that in the phonetic translation. He announced himself the right way, but outside of that, and I think I called Carico. I probably said that name wrong again. He told me he's a Florida State grad. He said I called him Caruso. I said his name. He said I said his name wrong like 3 times in there, and I apologize. Listen, that's what happens when you only read the script the day of. But outside of that, it went great. I posted on my social media where I got a chance to ad lib a little bit about the meaning of what Terrence being the president meant, and something that I hate doing, and I try to do it as macho and as manly as I could possibly do. I didn't cry at my wedding. I didn't cry at the birth of my firstborn. I typically don't cry. I can hold my emotions pretty damn good. But as I was talking about what Terrence means to me and my family, I caught myself though, but I hate crying, and I was trying not, and I hate that emotional stuff. So I'm not going to talk about it too much, but it went well. And then I did one of my favorite pastimes. You saw pictures of me and Denny Thompson, and everybody talked about when are me and Denny going to get back together? When we're going to get the Den back together? Blame 1010. Y'all want the Den back together? Go at 1010. Ask them questions. I'm just gonna put it on them. Like I'm gonna pass the buck. Get them. Tell them because it's gonna cost them now. I don't come cheap, but you tell 1010 to figure it out, and I might consider coming back. But me and Denny hung out at Guns and Hoses, which is a great charity event for fallen firefighters and police officers, where they raise money. And I have made it up in my mind that I'm going to go straight up Miami style, South Beach, as much as I can. As long as they invite me to this, I'm going to wear the brightest suit, and I'm only going to have 2 buttons in my button-up shirt. I'm showing chest the entire time, man. I am tempting grandmothers and aunties now that I'm getting of age. So that's kind of what went down. I got a chance to judge that. Terrible boxing, great entertainment, though, and for a great cause. So guys, check that out. It's an annual event. If you didn't go this year, make sure you check them out there. So that's catching up on that. In sporting news, to try to go over the whole of everything, we had the College Baseball World Series. I checked out after Florida State lost. I think we lost in the Super Regional. We didn't even get out the regional. We got out the regional, so Florida State lost in the Super Regional. The regional, yeah. Actually, 2-0 wasn't 2-0 Miss. No, we lost to Mississippi State. Lost to Auburn, and then Mississippi State won that to get out of that, right? Okay. Yeah. So we lost. I stopped caring, but then they fired Meat. Meat is the nickname of former Florida State baseball coach and the son of Florida State baseball legend Mike Martin. So Mike Martin Jr. got fired. Then all of the Mike Alford got a chance to flex his muscles a little bit. And Mike Alford is the athletic director at Florida State, former president of Seminole Boosters. And I like him as a Seminole Boosters. That man can raise money. But he did what people hope ADs do. And in this world of flexing your muscles in sports, you got to go big bank, take little bank. Notre Dame had the college baseball coach of the year this past season. And his name was, I want to say Link Jarrett. Now, that name sounded familiar. And if you're from Tallahassee, why does this name sound familiar? Why does this Link guy's name sound familiar? Well, one, he attended one of the greatest collegiate institutions in the world, and that's the Florida State University. He was a baseball player at the Florida State University. But that's not why I remembered him. I remembered him because I'm like, man, sounds familiar. And people who don't know me is me and my sister. My sister actually, it was a 10-year Seminole. I was an 8-year Seminole. And what I mean by that is we attended the greatest high school in the world. And that is the Florida State Developmental Research School, FSU-DRS, a.k.a. Florida High School. And he attended back when they were called the Demons. They weren't the Seminoles, they were the Demons. But we were part of Florida State's developmental research school. So he's technically a 8-year Nole in of himself. So he's from Tallahassee, went to Florida High, was up in Notre Dame, and I want to actually big up because that was a big bank take little bank. And before I get into who won the college baseball World Series, I want to say this: nobody nobody lies more than these three professions: preachers, politicians, and coaches. And a lot of it has to do with it's not really lies as much as it is you have a job to do and you have to get some things done. And but there's a way to do things. There's ways to do things as a politician where people can understand what you need to do. There's ways to be a preacher, and I know a lot of them. A lot I learned, as I told you guys a couple of weeks ago. I learned more about preachers having a bachelor party for a friend than I care to know anymore. Um, but coaches go into the living rooms of young men and women and they talk about family. They talk about honor. They talk about doing things the right way. They tell you that I'm going to be like your son or your daughter's father or mother. They tell you a lot of stuff and they really sell a closeness. And they're really trying to trigger an emotional response for you to be able to make a decision. As I say all the time, and with Micanopy 1851, it's a 4-year decision that launches you into your next 40. And it's tough. You like these people, they're trained, they're paid very well to do this stuff. It's a job. And a lot of people haven't, on the other side, haven't learned that part. But what I want to say about Link and what he did was possibly, and we'll post it on Sports Dens Media. I've shared it on my own social media, I believe. But it's one of the best speeches that I've heard a coach say leaving his institution that he was at. We've seen it in Florida State, and a lot of Florida State fans are upset because, how Jimbo left. And then when we hired Willie Taggart, it didn't happen the way it needed to happen. And when we go, and right now with the Mike Norvell process, people aren't happy with the results. And you see a lot of coaches, like you've seen when Brian Kelly left Notre Dame, it got leaked and he left kind of in the middle of the night. And you see coaches leave and they leave in the middle of the night. It's on Twitter, Miles. It's very rare that a coach comes out and tells the truth, takes accountability, and makes sure, and then also honors the institution in which he built his brand on. Link Jarrett did all those things. He came in and he really explained why he had to take this opportunity. As you get older, money is always the money is the objective and it's a motivator. Legacy is also, but you spend less and less time with your family. And as you chase your dreams, sometimes, you lose a lot of time, right? And the older generation, they don't get any younger. You miss time with family, you miss time with your kids, but your mom and your dad, and if you're married, your in-laws, they get a little older, they get a little bit long in the tooth, as they used to say. And you start to see them get sick and you can't take care of them because you're so busy. A thing that people don't know about me is that my grandmother-in-law lives with me. And it was important to me because I needed because a lot of people don't realize it. I talk about her all the time. I just call her my grandmother because in-law just takes too much. So I have, but you can't. I'm not Panamanian. My kids are Panamanian, but I tell people I have a Panamanian chef that gets mad when I don't eat. She will cook whatever she cooks every day, and she hates leftovers. But it was important because she was getting sick, and somebody was taking advantage of her, so we needed to bring her in. When my mother takes care of my actual maternal grandmother, and there will be she won't live in a home. So I say these things like as busy as I can get, I have my ways of touching them. Link Jarrett is in South Bend, Indiana. You can't fly into South Bend like that. You got to fly into Chicago. for the most part. So there's no really good flights. There's no easy, quick way to get home. And his family is getting older and they're getting a little sicker. So he was like, this was the opportunity for me to be able to come back home. Actually, Miles, it's another video that's going to come up on there that I want to play too, with a coach that explained, his situation. But anyways, Link just goes in and says, I got to come back home. This was my opportunity to come home to, and to be around my family. I have to take this opportunity. And then what he said that really stood out to me. Notre Dame did everything right. Like that video right there, Miles, I want to play that afterwards. Notre Dame did everything right. They did. It wasn't about money. They came up with the money. It wasn't about this. They came up with it. And the athletic director was there. He honored the man who gave him a chance to be able to get the opportunity to go back home. And in business and in life, that doesn't happen enough. We saw Jimbo Fisher, who I've forgiven since then, literally throw Florida State under the bus on the way out. And he was right about some of the things he said, but it's a better way he could have handled it. He just needed a new change of scenery. Jimbo could have said, I got 75 million reasons to leave Florida State. But he trashed the program. He trashed a lot of stuff, leaving a lot of bitter taste. Link has put himself in a position that he will always be able to come back. And that's something that my mother always taught me is when you leave, don't burn a bridge because you may have to cross back over it. And even when I do media, even when I tell about Florida State, as real as I am and as much candor as I have about everything, I'm always of the sense of I got to come back home. And I want to make sure I'm doing things within taste in the manner in which I did it. So, Link, welcome to Florida State. Can't promise you that I'm going to care about baseball that much. But on that note, as I was saying and all of that, when he got booted, I stopped caring because now he's at Florida State. But Ole Miss, hotty toddy, won the College Baseball World Series. One of the things that makes baseball kind of cool and basketball and softball. I like softball. I won't lie about that. What makes it dope is that the regular season matters because it puts you in position. But you as long as you're hot at the right time, you can win. Well, we saw College of Charleston win a few years ago. And which was wild when you consider the resources that all these other schools have in comparison to them. But Ole Miss won, and they just got hot. My guy Miguel brought this up to my attention. Was there anything that I need to know that was just special about this, or they just really was balling? Who stood out with them?
Just the entire offense came to life.
So the bats got live. All right, so for those who can't hear my guy Miguel, he just said they had an offensive explosion during the World Series. AKA, again, y'all not going to pick on me about saying pop time with outfielders like I did a few years ago. But I do know what that means. Bats getting live means. That means basically them boys are just crushing it. And to quote the one of the smartest men who've ever existed in football, Bobby Bowden, if you score more points than the other team, you win. You win. So it doesn't matter how good your pitching is. And sometimes with college and high school baseball, just even though they do have a different bat that's supposed to be a little bit better than more like wood, it's still not wood. You throw hard, they connect with that bad boy, it goes far. I only know that because I've trained a lot of baseball players that can throw gas, but I've also trained some that can hit it a country mile, and they've all said, I prefer a pitcher that throws it hard and fast as opposed to a guy that's got great placement, that has a bunch of different tools that makes it a little bit more difficult. But, shout out to Hotty Toddy. Good for you guys. Really don't care because, again, it didn't affect Florida State. We didn't win. Other news before I get into this other rendition, shout out to Jackson State. Sean Puffy Combs just donated $1 million or pledge. Let me rephrase it, because donate means you actually got it. Pledge means I'm going to do it. I don't know when, but I'm going to do it. I want to do it. He pledged that to Jackson State on the BET Music Awards. Man, there are about like 200 HBCUs, guys, and only 10 get everything. Spread it out. I say all that to say I have vested interest in Florida A&M. So if y'all see me coming hard at you guys with FAMU, it's because I love y'all and I believe that y'all should be doing a much better job for your athletes, considering you're one of the most popular HBCUs. And I just posted pictures of Isaiah Land and my boys and the crew doing a tour of Florida A&M athletics. But going back to the Link Jarrett thing a little bit, Miles, post up that video. I want to play that because I want people to understand this. People talk a lot about minority fathers, black fathers in general. And I've told people that black dads do exist, and I call myself a unicorn because people act like it's CGI when you see a black dude with his kids. Like those can't be his kids. Something must have happened. But what I want to explain is that though we may not do fatherhood or parenthood in the traditional sense, you might not necessarily be married, you might necessarily do this. Every kid has a guy like this in their life. They have a coach who an African-American coach, or just fatherhood in general has been bastardized. It's really, really good. Like a lot of men do it. And if you don't have your father in your life, I want you to listen to this man. There is somebody in your life like this man who has taken time away from his family to be that father figure in your life. And this is what coaching is about. And this is why I got back into it. Go ahead, run that tape real quick, Miles.
We win at school, we lose at home.
Actually, I can't even.
We win at football, we lose at home. we the coach of the year. We're not husband of the year. They didn't get a nomination. We coach of the year. We're not father of the year. They didn't get a nomination. The hardest I ever cried over when my mama died, I'm cleaning out a box. Coach, you know how many times I moved. I'm cleaning out a box. I found an old box. I found my daughter's diary. She's in 11th grade now, going to 12th grade around high school. I found a diary when she's in the 7th grade. I read the diary. She says, I hate moving. I'm so sick of moving. That is the only one that's happy here. The rest of us are miserable. I sat in the corner of my garage and cried like a baby. Because I was coach of the year. I was the AD, but I was losing at home where it mattered most. Coaches, I want to encourage you to win where it matters. Because on your obituary, none of these jokers in this room name gonna be written. None of your players' name will be on your obituary. I coached at Nike Hollowell. He led the state of Florida in rushing. I coached at Australia. We averaged 498 yards a game, led the nation. When I die, it's gonna say survived by Tanika Spears, Keena Spears, and Taylor Spears. Coach, I pray with all the time you spend with all these other folks' kids, that you're a burden by the time you're not spending with your own kids. But with that being said, Coach, these kids need you too. They need you to show them what a real man looks like. They need you to be a good example. If you don't
I'll say that's why I appreciate what Link did. So going back, kind of marrying that is because coaches are father figures, but they're also somebody else's father. There's a sacrifice that has to be made for that, and I think people need to take time to honor them. And when a business move is made like that, I can't help but honor and feel good about that guy, like as a man, because as coaches and as people, as influencers, that's what we do. We're here to train up men and women. Female coaches are there to train up. Basically, we're here to create the next generation of adults. And I think that's powerful. And I think not enough of that gets honored. So in all of that saying, right, honorable, the way you do business. There's a way to move and there's a way not to move. And money is a motivator, but money cannot be the only motivator. And in this world with name, image, and likeness, and as a guy who's got a stepping foot in this kind of in a part-time manner, there is stuff that's been going on that happens that I just don't understand. And last night I was going to prepare a bunch of other stuff and maybe I'll use it for Wednesday. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the news of the last, really not even 24 hours. Is the University of Florida got mud stomped. So I love that in recruiting. They have been boasting their chest, and Miles, you can. I think there's a tweet with it, and I posted that because it was so awesome. Because I love shooting shots. Darren Heitner, dope guy. I've known Darren for a little bit of time. We have a mutual friend, Rob Katz. somebody posted about Darren Heitner made a post about how the Florida State is falling behind in name, image, and likeness collectives because Miami has very loud and braggadocious guys and attorney John Ruiz and his company Life Wallet, which probably has a relative business valuation of a couple $100 now because of how hard they got hit and what's it went live on stocks. But he's live. They've also got other agents, attorneys that are doing good stuff. Florida has something. I made a comment. Just because you talk the loudest or just because you're speaking about it doesn't mean you're active. And then and he put, about there is, substance or no, he said impact, something over impact. And, they've got war chests and they've been developing. That's it right there, I think, Miles. Yep. Okay. So if you click on that picture and then post it. So I want everybody to see what I actually said to Darren. Because actually I read it because there's people on. Is FSU falling well behind UF and UM? UF has Gator Collective. Okay.
I'm going to share it for them.
All right. We're going to put that on live. So my people on SoundCloud, bear with me real quick. All right. Well, you got to post. Let me see the other one. I can't see that. All right. So UF has Gator Collective and Gator Guard. UM has John Ruiz and Dan Lambert. Where's FSU's NIL? Christy Dosh at Sports Biz Miz, who's really at the forefront of all of this stuff. So go follow at Sports Biz Miz if you BIZ MISS if you want to go get caught up on collectives, who's doing what, different things. Right now, there's a conference in Vegas. They do have Rising Spirit NIL and Micanopy 1851, which is mine. I assume you're just referring to the amount of respective war chest. Correct. Impact over existence. This is me. We have them. We are making impact. The loudest in the room doesn't mean they the baddest. At the end of the day, it's great that so many are interested in student athletes getting paid. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Now, scroll up real quick, Miles, so I can remember what I said yesterday as I screenshot this right here. I said, we have no idea how everything will end. But where I'm from, the loudest ain't the ones to fear. The meanest get whispered about. Just not into making headlines every other day. It's about servicing athletes. If you got a war chest, and you getting schooled in war, get your chest up. And Florida got their collective asses whooped in recruiting this past weekend. There was a 4-star from out of the Orange Park area here in Jacksonville. His last name's Kearney. Big-time offensive lineman. Going to be good. Florida's been talking about, oh, we're going to win. We're going to get him. Billy Badass or whatever his name is going to do this, do that. Boy committed to Florida State on his visit to Florida. I don't really that one. Curdy, I love your gangster.
Yo,
we got to have a little bit more respect to that. Okay, let's not commit while we're at another school. Like, come home first. Like, let's get to safety, then commit. Okay, but I like that. That's a shot in your chest. Then they had a kid Rashada, and that's what we're going to spend a majority of our time talking about. He was, oh my God, he's crystal ball to Florida. Blah blah blah. He commits to Miami. When he goes down there and John Ruiz and these guys. Here's the problem. You people are treating, and this is why I talk about recruiting the way I talk about it. Do you guys realize that it's a bunch of grown men that get excited about little boys in tights and cut-off shirts, sweating and glistening, running around and with little helmets on their head? And you brag and you boast about this kind of stuff. And as men, I question what your wives think when you're so upset that a little boy didn't go to your school. Like, just take football out of this. Any other situation, somebody would have you committed, or they would be looking at your computers to see if you have child pornography. It doesn't make any sense that how wrapped up you're into it. I can want them. It's why I came up with it. It's why MFTK came about. MFTK came about because I really don't care about these kids and what they do in college. Go where you want to go as long as your interest doesn't interfere with my interest, and we're cool. Because at the end of the day, it's about promoting and advancing and doing as much as you can with your career. I cannot hate on another young man for doing what it is that I did. But some of you guys are losing friends. You're trying to get in fights. You're threatening people over little boys. That is weird. And nothing's more weirder than the chest pounding that is coming from these collective war chests and stuff like what happened yesterday. And I really just want to make sure that I capture this the right way, because this is wild. On3, which has become really the go-to news source for all things college football in general. The guy who started it he started Rivals. He started 247. He's basically a news media outlet flipper. And I can't hate on him. So On3 is getting some of the best journalists. And where I got privy to this is that there was an article that Josh Newberg, formerly of 247, another guy, TJ Pittenger, they posted clips of this. Now, I will say the clips give more of salacious light, but I'll also say that the guy who is representing Jaden Rashada is an attorney well versed in this, and he's the one who brought this to light. And very much so, as much things that we reported on, John Ruiz has been very bold about this on social media. Let me see this guy's name. I want to make sure I say it. Michael Caspino has been very bold and braggadocious about this on social media, as much as Ruiz has. And what Caspino did was he took an opportunity to take a shot at my guy Darren Heitner, who has come back and defended himself. And before I read all of this, I want to say that there are very few rules in the name, image, and likeness world. But the few rules are very hard, and if enforced, are easily enforceable. There is no such thing as pay for play. I cannot give you money for getting interceptions or throwing touchdowns. There's no bonus structure attached to that. Now, in theory, nobody's paying guys who aren't any good, and nobody who's not any good is getting paid. So if you play well, they pay well. But technically, I can't pay you for scoring 10 touchdowns, but I can give you but your marketability rises when you're good, right? It's the reason why LeBron James is worth more than Alex Scalabrini. It's just, I'm sorry, you can get mad at me. It's just what happens. But that's one rule. The other rule is you cannot entice a player to come to your university based upon a name, image, and likeness deal. Meaning, I can't offer you $11 million to sign to the University of Miami. That is a clear violation. Also, James Coleman, in the capacity of Micanopy 1851, cannot talk to a student athlete and offer them a deal. That is illegal. I can't even you're not even supposed to have conversations in that capacity until said student athlete signs a scholarship. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody does those things. Every one of those things is done. I don't. Nicodopi don't, but everybody else does those things. I'm not going to lie to you. But the problem is, or the cool thing is that people have this thing called, make sure I'm saying it right. Is it couth? I know uncouth is a word, but I'm not sure if couth is a word. But we're just going to say couth. They basically have tact.
There we go.
Very few people are going on social media saying, I'm going to give you $11 million to come to Florida State. That's illegal. It's clearly illegal. It's like going to the police and saying, actually, you know what? It's the equivalent of what these young rappers in Jacksonville are doing every day, making rap songs about how many people they've killed, and these being active investigations and laying out all the details and saying, oh, and then when you get arrested, oh my God, why did they arrest me? You clearly told them everything and where you were going to be on Friday. Like that's why they were there. Nobody snitched on you. You snitched on yourself.
They play your song in court.
Right. It's just, but in fans, you're also leading into this boogeyman of what the NIL deal is. You're feeding into it. Florida fans attack the message boards in such a fervor that it just doesn't make any sense. Because first, you had Darren Heitner. That was back in April, pounding his chest about how far behind Florida State was to Florida. To lose a recruit, and Florida fans were retweeting that, loving it. Broke boys is what they were calling people on social media. Y'all in the projects in Tallahassee. Trailer Hassy. Y'all ain't got no money. Look at us. Which is another odd thing. Like, y'all know John Ruiz is a billionaire. You're not. You're broke, which is cool in your position that you're in. But, like, I've never been in this. Like, I've got really rich friends, right? I'm not, though. They're rich. We're not anything. They're rich. And I do have a saying that, like, I got this from Charlamagne the God, a radio guy. If you're worth way more than me, I don't pay the bill. You pay the bill, bro. You got the money. Like, so when I go to eat with my friends who play like 10 years in the NFL, don't come looking at me. I didn't tell you to buy all them bottles. I didn't tell you to buy that expensive steak. You invited me out, you pay. It's like the date. You invited me out, you pay for it. He who can post bail doesn't go to jail is a phrase that we used to have in my neighborhood. So we're going to take that to steak restaurants too. But all of this stuff was going. But now, here is what the new Florida defeatist, loser mentality, loser blood, as one of my friends loves to say, mentality is. So Jaden, this is just Jaden, because they also said Florida State outbid for the young man from Orange Park. Not that your coaching staff just didn't recruit him right, and they just got their asses whooped. It can't be that your coaching staff tried to use negative recruiting, and negative recruiting doesn't work for everybody. Sometimes you got to have merit. You got to have something to stand on, and your coaches don't have anything to stand on. But it's always, they just outbid for us. If you have a war chest, how are you being outbid? You had an NIL company a full 6 months longer than Florida State. And if I'm to believe some of the sources that I'm saying, you have $1 million collective in your Gator collective. Which is why I'm going to go into some of these other lies that are in this article. But anyways, shortly after the kid committed, this is what the Florida posters were saying. Miami offered the most NIL money. Miami outbid Florida. Call it what it is. Miami dropped big bags on Rashida. Stuff that, again, if you believe in the bag man, then the bag man has existed since college football started. Why is it now a problem with name, image, and likeness? The bag man has never not been there. College athletes have always been paid. It's just legal now. Just can't go to jail for it now. Like, remember, Florida, you're the reason that people go to jail because of paying people. Remember what they did to your Fred Taylor and all those guys back in the mid-90s? Just saying. Michael Caspino said the rumor mill isn't accurate. This guy also represents a lot of the top football and basketball prospects. He's most notable for the quarterback that's from out of California that is committed to Tennessee. And he allegedly has an $8 million NIL deal. Which, if you really, before I go into this, a lot of these guys are into philanthropy, but not like this. Ain't nobody just giving $8 million to a guy that doesn't give a good ROI. It doesn't make sense. Like, these guys became successful by making sound investments. They're getting money. They're getting good money. But again, common sense has to come into full sometimes. And I don't think a lot of people are using common sense right now. But anyways, this is what Caspino said. Jaden left millions on the table. Millions. He did not pick the highest offer. He went there because he loves Miami, the coaches, and the opportunity. Now, On3 is saying this, is that the Miami name, image, and likeness deal is worth $9.5 million. The same sources said that Rashida turned down an offer from the Gator Collective specifically saying the Gator Collective for $11 million. I'm going to take this pause to say that this is my hate o'clock, brought to you by Green Acres Sporting Goods. Green Acres is the go-to outdoor spot for you to like get some binoculars so you can spot bullshit when you see it. By gun millimeter, I believe that every red-blooded American should protect their Second Amendment right. Go get you a concealed to carry. Go get you a 9mm, get you a pump shotgun. Those are the best things that you can get for home defense. If you want to buy other stuff, they got those things, but I'm definitely talking about for situations that you can't get yourself out of. They provide this. They also provide gun safety classes, places that you can store your weapons safely as well, like safes and things of that nature. They also have bows and arrows. They've got flamethrowers. They've got fishing equipment. Next time I go there, the next video you're going to see, I'm shooting a crossbow and a bow and arrow along with probably some other cool gun. They got the cool guns. They got whatever you want to spend. They have very valuable options. And they also have this thing that, again, you hearing it from me, you need to go buy this stuff now because I don't like to get into politics, but there is going to be a 30% reduction on the building of munitions per Biden. So you know what that means? Capitalism is going to come into play. It's this thing called supply and demand that a lot of you don't really know about. When the supply goes down and the demand stays up, that means prices increase. And people already don't have a lot of bullets anyway. Green Acres does. So going back to what I'm talking about with this. Now, Ruiz says he's never talked to Caspino about Jaden Rashad, but he's talked about him before. And all these different things. So that's what's going on in that world. Now, Miles, after this report came out, Darren Heitner was getting crushed by Florida fans. They've called him a wolf in sheep's clothing. They've said he's stealing money. And the Gator Collective effectively went and announced, post what you you got it, so that people can see this, and I'll read it off. It's wild.
They can see it.
They can see it. The recent comments made by California lawyer Michael Caspino have been brought to our attention. Gator Collective has never had any communication with Mr. Caspino about Jaden Rashada or any recruits. Rather, Gator Collective has refused to engage in dialogue, and that just went off. Okay, it's refused to engage. It's up now, boss. Has refused to engage in dialogue and blah, 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 yakety smackety. I don't even have to read the rest of that. As I've told you guys, what we do with Mika, I'm just going to, because I don't want to get myself in trouble. What we do with Micanopy 1851, we're not getting deals for recruits. Our job is to get deals for Florida State athletes. And really, it's not even get deals. It's to develop them so that they can become the brands, not for what the 4 years they're on campus, for the next 40 years. So that's what we do that's way different than this. I let these guys get into this chicken fighting mess that's not making anybody any money. The only thing that this is doing is providing advertising for Mr. Caspino and Mr. Ruiz. God bless them. And Darren Heitner, who they're going to be thousands upon thousands of viral tweets and all these things. Like, because Darren basically calls him out, this is what happened. To Darren's defense, lawyer Michael Caspino just went on record admitting to an NCAA violation. If he took an NIL deal, lesser or not, by picking the Hurricanes, then that's a violation no matter what his contract states. And he's not wrong about that. And here's what, and I'll get to maybe what one loophole is going to be that I do know of. Now, Mr. Caspino has taken to Twitter, as is now what people do. And this is where I'm starting to believe, as good as social media is becoming the devil as well. I understand what the Florida Collective is saying. Damage control, I get it. However, the Florida Collective is run by inexperienced millennials. I deal with every collective in the country. Serious ventures call for serious leadership. And it's wild because the Gator Collective is actually ran by some pretty good business individuals. attorneys, litigators, things of that nature. But like now he's taken to his now the good thing of Twitter is you can control your own narrative. You can push this out. And he puts that, a lot of different things that are out there. And he's talked about how if he believes Miami has the best ran collective with John Ruiz, all of these different things. Oh, wow. I'll get on that. That's breaking news. It's just sad because here's the sad part and what I really hate in all of this. And I talked about this with kids that I know who are getting recruited. Is that wealth, whether he's a billionaire or not, John Ruiz is extremely wealthy and extremely successful. He has set up his life to where he can eat for forever. Same thing with Mr. Caspino, the attorney Caspino in California. Same thing with Mario Cristobal in Miami, and same thing with Billy Napier at the University of Florida. These men have contracts that have money that will change their family's life, and they've earned it, respective of what anybody believes. What's sad though is these young men that are 17, 18, maybe 19 years old. No matter what, the NCAA has a job to do, and they've already been down there in Miami investigating John Ruiz. And because of this, now they have every reason to go back and investigate John Ruiz. And they have to provide proof of every contract. So the only loophole they kind of have is that the state of California has name, image, and likeness for high school athletes. The state of Florida does not. California does. So you technically can, if that contract is a life wallet contract right now for Jaden Rashida in the capacity he's in now, it gives him some wiggle room. But that also means Jaden can decommit and go wherever he wants to go, and that Ruiz has to still pay that deal. Because, again, the one rule is it cannot be contingent upon going where they go. Now, you'll be naive to believe that any school has not talked to any collective or somebody about the amount of dinero they can make while they're up there. But when it's this blatant and it's put out there, the only person who's going to get injured or harmed in this situation is the athlete and the family of the athlete, who probably has no idea who to trust or what's going on in this situation. Like, you're dealing with people who are operating at the best of their ability and the best of their energy, but have never been in situations where they get to go against these deals, where they get to negotiate these kind of deals. And now, if Jaden, because of what two loudmouths have done, has to be suspended, I hope that he has, in his contract of representation, he has not put himself in a bind that he can't sue the pants off of Caspino. Because that's what I would do. Because you got to at a certain point, you shut up until the deal is done. And on top of that, again, coming from where I'm from, which is why I say guys get whispered about, who are the tough guys, they don't get talked about as much. Or you know about them, but you don't know the details about what they do. Because again, there was this thing when I was coming up called RICO that got people up. That's what got Young Thug in. But I don't want, until I can get my mama out the hood, I don't want people in the hood thinking my mama got $9.5 million from her son. Do you know what happens? Like, that's why rappers get robbed when they go back. They got the jewelry. You become food. I don't want everybody to know. The coolest thing about most billionaires is you only know about them because other people have talked about them. They are silent. We know about Warren Buffett because of books he's writing about his and his help with investment strategies. We know about we know about Mark Cuban because now he's a more flashy guy. But I didn't know who Shad Khan was until he bought the Jags. A lot of these guys you don't really know about like that. It's the ones that, but like, and even then, they're in circles where they can afford to protect themselves. Some of these athletes aren't, and they don't have those same resources and those same means. So again, guys, fans, stop talking about these things as if you know about these things, and just go back to enjoying the shirtless boys that y'all watch in 707. Whoa. And not about, I'd rather them do that weirdo shit as opposed to this counting pockets, trying to flex with money that's not yours. And because I mean, it even got to, I don't even know if I talked about this. This Ruiz guy literally Twitter threatened a Florida fan, DK Thompson. And it was wild because he kind of exposed the Life Wallet stuff and said that it was going to bust and all these things. And now he's got people coming and looking for his house and taking pictures. Y'all have made this sport. Y'all blame the kids, right? But y'all are the ones who have made this sport bad. All the kids did was be great at something. And that's capitalism. You become great at something, really, really good, you're a commodity, people buy your commodity. But you adults have made it weird. Not the kids. The way that you talk on this stuff, and the only thing I think can happen one day, because Ohio State's media is crazy, but they're not crazy like this. Georgia's media is crazy, but they're not crazy like this. Alabama's media is crazy, but they're not crazy like this. At some point, the SIDs, sports information directors of the collective Big Three universities, need to come in and bring everybody together. Bring all the different media agencies together and say, hey, we got to get you guys you got to get your people under control. Because the narratives that are being pushed to get clicks and to make money are starting to make this way wilder than what it needs to be. And that's just really my whole thought process on that. Let me see this. Do you think a kid that gets that much money is going to continue to strive to make it to the league? That may be comfortable with the money that they get. It's not. One, they're not getting that much money. That's one. Put it in perspective. A 4-star, get my bag. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. A 4-star prospect, right, means you have an opportunity to go to the league. Not a 5-star, which there's only like 30 5-star prospects. Now, if you told me a 5-star, I'd be more apt to believe it. Not the number, like I think he's like at one ranking, he's the number 26 quarterback in the nation. And that's good. I think he can make it to the league. I hope he makes it to the league. But there's a couple of things to digest into that. And you can look that up, Miguel. Jaden, Jaden, Rashada, if you can find out where he's ranked for me, I appreciate that. Anyway, I know he's a 4-star. I can tell you that much. That is late first round, early second round money that this kid is going to get paid to go to college. If John Ruiz is stupid enough to do that, God bless him. Maybe that kid wouldn't do that. But here's how and why this kid is being talked about. It's because this kid is being great. You don't become great by settling. It's a mindset that you have to have. It's a mind, like go talk to some really good elite athletes. I'm not even elite like that, and I live that mindset. My goal isn't to get comfortable. My goal is to win. The goal is to win. The goal is to get to the NFL. That is the prize. I don't understand why you guys can't understand that. If he thought like that, he would not be a 4-star, one of the top prospects in the nation right now. I say this sometimes with people. Don't bring your 5-figure mentality to a 7 or 8-figure problem. And that's not a knock, right? My family, when I made it to the league, my family told me things like, and I always see this, pro athletes go broke. They don't go broke in the way that you think, right? It's not because of the chains. It's not because of the cars. That might have a little bit. It's the spending habits after post-career have something to do with it, but most go broke trying to do legitimate things because they're not comfortable with only making a couple $1 million. The goal is to not go back. The goal is you work so hard, you grind so hard so that you never have to go to a situation where you're eating free lunch again. Like you don't want the fried bologna sandwiches anymore. That's not why you do this. If it were just to get to college, this would have you'd go somewhere else. Now, you want to make as much money as you possibly can. And I've told the story about me and the guys who I came up with, like T-Pain and a lot of these guys, like they have music that they can still, the stuff they did when they were 18, they still get paid for. I don't get paid for the NCAA video games I was in anymore. So I wish I could get paid off of the things that I did when I was 18. But name, image, and likeness is so much more than just getting a check. Name, image, and likeness is like another company that I'm affiliated with, College Fan Coin, that was made by Willie T. Lee III, who's a cornerback out of Arizona State University, who has created a land in the metaverse for young athletes to be able to get paid to go out there and mingle with people. See, now he can create this business as an entrepreneur and make money from it. Guys can make their YouTube channels and get money from it. So I mean, I'm going from that, but what happens? Your stock increases when you're good. When you're not good anymore, you're no longer valuable. And in football, it's like you have, if you're lucky, you have a 10-year window to make as much money as your friends who are doctors and lawyers will make. My best friend, Jamila Wade, is an OBGYN at a hospital in Charlotte. Jamila didn't make a fraction of even what I made in my 1 year in the league. In her first 5 to 6 years, and she, as a doctor, and she went to school for 5 years more than me. But now she's making a couple $100,000 a year for the rest of her life. And I don't get to make any more. I can't hit people no more. My neck's bad. But she can go do surgery. She can deliver babies until she leaves this earth. You guys got to stop looking at, especially this new generation of athlete. This is not dumb jocks anymore. These kids are businesses, entities, and they may be manipulated and taken advantage of, but they want to make more money than what you can believe. But they want to be great. The average NIL deal, average good NIL deal, good one, not even the average one, I'm just telling you, the average good one is about $60,000 to $65,000 annually. And I bring this guy up not to knock him, but Marquise Bell, who was picked up as an undrafted free agent from Florida A&M, who's with the Dallas Cowboys, contract this year is $850,000. That is that's exponentially more than what he could make at a college. In the NFL contract, in 10 years, actually not even 10 years, I think in the next 8 years, rookie minimum will be, the base will be $1 million, meaning that probably you'll make $1.5 million for just being on the NFL roster. The money will always be better at the next level, and that's the reason why you go to college. That's the reason why you have the NIL deals. You don't have it to just go to college. You have it so that you can get to the pros, because the pro money is the biggest. And if I'll tell you this, and if you have the mentality of, oh, I'm just going to get here and get this, you'll flame out. You will flame out. You won't last. You have to be elite. Your mindset has to be elite. And you don't become elite in just some things. It's typically you're competitive in everything that you do. The reason why I don't let my sons win ain't because I'm just trying to be big and bad. I don't let anybody win. I've been wanting to beat people since my mama when my mom tried to play basketball with me at Rockbrook in the hoop that we all had out there. I clapped my mama's knees. I crossed her ass up. And I love that woman to death. But she was in the way of me getting buckets. I will run. If it's between me and my grandmama on that goal line, I love you, Grandma. You've lived a great life. It's just something. It's why I say things like the standard is the standard. A lot of people can't understand that because you like, not you per se. I'm not speaking at you, the guy who made that comment. I'm speaking in the generality, in a general sense. But a lot of people can't understand it. And that's why a small percentage of people run the world and are in the top of their profession and make as much money as they make, because they don't. Wall Street, City That Never Sleeps, the second thing. There was a great scene in there where the guy from Transformers, I don't know, whatever his name is, he comes up to the guy and he says, I've known that everybody has a number. It's a number that you reach and that you eventually get out. I find most successful people that, and this was what this young man thought in his mindset. And he said, what is your number? And it was the coldest line I've heard in the movie. My number? More. Jay-Z, you don't know. We used to end that with our old show on the op station. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4. in 18 months, 40 million more. Now add that number up to the one that you had before. You are not looking at one smart black boy. The thing is, I'm going to keep adding numbers. 1% of a billion. To this, the deals are never to be, it's not to be satisfied. You can't be elite being satisfied. So again, I told people when I got $100,000 marketing deal, I didn't step back and say, "Woof, man, all right, man, let me chill out, man." No, I was like, "Damn, I wonder how you get a $200,000 marketing deal." Book bag drive, first book bag drive. We did. The goal was to get 300 book bags in Tallahassee. We did 2 between Tallahassee and Jacksonville. Got 700 book bags. Then I was like, "Okay, all right." I didn't say, "Man, you know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna get 700 book bags." I said, "No, how do I get 1,000 book bags?" We ended up getting 1,250. I didn't say this year we're gonna go for 1,250 book bags. I said, how do we get 2,500 book bags? Competitors compete. I know a lot. I've had a lot of arguments and disagreements with people. I don't know how to get y'all to think. I'm not trying to convince y'all to think my way. I'm just telling you from the perspective of a guy who ran into people that if I were in the name, image, and likeness thing, I know what my goal is. My goal was I never woke up. Now, maybe in 20 years, people will have aspirations and dreams of just going to college. But I know when I woke up, and right now with my sons don't tell me they tell me they want to go to Florida State because I went there, but they tell me they want to be in the league. He hears about a $250 million deal with Deshaun Watson, which not, but however you feel about him, don't care. Just saying he's got $250 million guaranteed. Pat Mahomes getting paid $50 million a year, I think, over the next 10 years. You think that kids don't see that and believe, because again, in my last point with the statistics, it was my mother had a better chance of winning the lotto than for me going to Florida State. Better chance of winning it twice than having 2 Division I athletes. 2% of all athletes play college, of all high school athletes play collegiate athletics. 2%. To believe that you're that good and have a better chance of winning the lottery, you have to have a different mindset. You have to believe that you can do it and that you're the best in the world at doing this. And to get from college to the pros, that's 1% of that 2%. You have to believe that in that mindset doesn't just check out off of certain numbers. Like, it's either you have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you're just pan out. So I mean, I get it. You know, we live in a reality show world, or reality of life, where we see things like the TV show, the game shows with the bags that, you know, you point to this one and it's $2,000, or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, when you get these questions and but if you notice, the ones who always win, like the big prize, they have an unwavering confidence in what they know and how they're going, and they have a game plan of how they're going to do it. And I promise you, I know people who are successful in a lot of different fields, but if I go back and I look at what the common denominators are in all of them, they have an unwavering confidence and they have a plan and they execute that plan. You can't have that by saying, "Oh, a couple $100,000 is enough for me." So I ain't finna get into all this because I really don't care that she's detained, and I know people hate that, but I don't like people who batter women. Brittany Griner, his detention in Russia has been extended for another 6 months for anybody who cares about that. I hate it, but I'm gonna tell you, as a guy that travels international a lot, be above reproach when you travel international. Look at your bags. Don't bring no weed pens. You can go buy another weed pen wherever you land. Trust me, they ain't that expensive. Especially when you're making as much money as her. She's been in Russia for a while, been hooping. She knows the stuff. She knows what's going down. I hope the best for her. I hope they get her out. Y'all stop with this foolish. If she were LeBron James, if she were Michael Jordan, she would have been out. If she were LeBron James, ain't never pissed hot for nothing. LeBron James wouldn't have took a weed pen. I can promise you that. But I do hope, you know, for her sake, she gets out. But I also ain't trying to trade no world secrets for Brittany Griner either. So, but on that note, guys, this is the Sports Den. Appreciate you guys for coming and checking us out. We'll be here on Wednesday, Friday. If you like the show, the best way that you can support me, support the sponsors. Go to thehumidor.com. Make sure you type in Sports Den. Check out Goodfellas Cigar Lounge. Make sure you go to Green Acre Sporting Goods. Get your Glocks, get your nines, get all that good fun stuff that you possibly need. Z and those guys are the best at teaching you about what you purchase. They won't let you waste money on that. Support the book bag drives. And really, this is the freest. This doesn't cost you anything. Like, retweet, share, subscribe, all of those different things that cost nothing more than a few seconds of your time. Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good day.